The Metro-2 framework is probably one of the most mysterious underground rail frameworks on the planet. Said to exist under the similarly fascinating Moscow Metro framework, the line was asserted to be utilized by the elites of the Soviet Union. Some state it stays operational today. Also, instead of being just an underground rail framework, a few scientists recommend that a whole multi-floor habitation exists under Moscow, maybe as profound as 15 levels. Might those cases be valid? Well before the designs for the Moscow underground framework were conjured up, Russia had a long history of mysterious underground structures and areas. They return hundreds of years. For instance, a mystery chamber room housed many old writings under the Kremlin before they were bafflingly lost sooner or later during the 1500s. As far as anyone knows, they were priceless original copies from the Byzantine library. Regardless of whether they were devastated or remain someplace in a mystery area is available to discuss. Later in the 16th century, Ivan the Terrible managed his own underground organization. He utilized it to detain, torment, and even homicide any individual who crossed him. Maybe significantly all the more chilling insight regarding these underground torment networks is the destiny of the individuals who dealt with them. As indicated by the records, anybody associated with them was brought to the underground rooms and executed to ensure these insider facts. Huge numbers of the crude materials that make up the obvious Moscow and Metro-2 underground are said to originate from the stone and quality of the structures of the Russian illustrious family. Even though plans for a serious underground framework had existed for quite a long time, work didn't generally start until the mid-1930s. Upon Stalin's particular requests, a huge segment of the materials originated from the exceptionally old structures that were destroyed and deprived of all that could be used. Mid-1930s, this was without a doubt identified with the thought of the tip-top and the arrival of riches to the individuals, from a certain point of view as it was offered to the individuals. Truly, it was an instance of stripping down the most reduced hanging natural product. This disposition may be showing plainly what underlies such philosophy. A great part of the work on the Moscow Metro framework was directed by hand by residents of the Soviet Union. Authoritatively, this was because of the absence of suitable instruments and exhibited the dedication of the Soviet residents. Nonetheless, a large number of laborers were political rivals. We should take note of this isn't a formally perceived actuality. You won't locate any put-down accounts of such constrained work. In any case, realizing what we do of how such political rivals were frequently treated, almost certainly, the bits of gossip are in any event mostly trustworthy. The individuals who guarantee the clandestine organization exists under the official rail network say the solitary select people were permitted to deal with the informal lines. These individuals were surely not the individuals who may have had contrasting philosophies to the formally perceived mindset. 3. Regardless of who worked on what parts of the organization frameworks, the work was long, backbreaking, and extraordinary. Despite any official justification for the development of the Moscow underground, the purpose behind the Metro-2 framework was no doubt a consequence of distrustfulness. Following the finish of World War II, there was prudent basic scorn of Stalin, what he spoke to, and the individuals who managed under him. In all actuality, this basic enmity had been blending for quite a long time among numerous in the Soviet people. Stalin had certifiable worries about endeavors in his life. Many cases the Metro-2 framework and the broad underground living quarters associated with it were set up so Stalin and any dedicated companions could get away if another insurgency occurred. Particularly one that may bring about an impending threat to his life. For so it would bode well that solitary a limited handful would even be told about the organization, substantially less enter it, as we would expect, just those with highly confidential uncommon leeway could enter the Metro-2 framework. That basically implied the world class. Besides, these conditions are apparently still set up today, at any rate unofficially. 5. For different reasons, numerous analysts have applied for consent to enter the supposed passages. Practically all have been cannot. Maybe that ought to be telling enough in itself. For instance, for what reason would a solicitation to see an organization of passages that doesn't exist be cannot? As indicated by certain sources, as late as 2008. The Moscow Metro Workers' Organization was attempted circumspect endeavors to draw and select drivers for mystery courses. Obviously, these might have been for genuine government ventures. In any case, given the numerous bits of gossip about the clandestine Metro-2 organization, it is anything but difficult to perceive any reason why scientists would make the association. If the cases are valid, what action may be occurring under the city of Moscow today? Despite the fact that we should treat the reports with a touch of salt, like each one of those concerning Metro-2, the cases of restrictive lines and short trains are specifically compelling. These are maybe to keep up well-being and mystery however much as could be expected, to such an extent that they frequently include just a solitary traveler vehicle with space for a negligible number of individuals. Analyst Yuri Zaitsev keeps up that 4 restrictive and mystery lines actually work today. These associate with key areas around Moscow, and from each, other significant areas can be reached. In the picture over, the dabbed lines as far as anyone knows to uncover mystery Metro-2 lines. These claims were apparently confirmed by one-time government serf Mikhail Polteranin. He proclaimed, "I realized that the Metro-2 has branches that go to suburbia so the order could move away from the focal point of an atomic assault." He additionally expressed that the underground organization was tremendous and could without much of a stretch conceal many individuals, since the fall of the Soviet Union, and, sometimes, previously, some high-positioning government officials have approached to affirm the presence of Metro-2. Even though it is anything but difficult to excuse such articulations as connivance drivel, the many coordinating cases are in any event important to us here. For model, previous Stata Serv Alexander Muzikinsky said that the tremendous organization was intended to guarantee the steady activity of the senior military and political administration in the midst of furnished clash, including an atomic conflict. 7 Oleg Gordievsky, a turncoat from the Soviet Union, made much additionally disturbing cases. He cautioned, "You actually don't have a clue about the fundamental KGB mystery yet, a tremendous underground city, an entire interchanges organization of such offices. Be that as it may, they won't show you. They will never, of course." Even now, huge numbers of these cases originating from the previous Soviet Union are both fascinating and baffling in the equivalent measure since they seem splashed with disinformation. As we will talk about in a second, substantially more might be under and around the Metro-2 line than only a rail organization. For instance, a few underground fortifications are accepted to exist. These were all for the sake of getting away from atomic annihilation. 8 However, no doubt these dugouts were past simple trauma centers. Numerous scientists guarantee that they were kitted out in the most extreme extravagance. Furthermore, they were intended to oblige long remains of numerous months, maybe even years. It is guaranteed by informants and deserters that these dugouts were for the select utilization of steadfast, high-positioning individuals from the Communist Party and the Politburo. Likewise, each future ready to bring their whole families into what added up to extravagance underground high-rises. Maybe a much more abnormal and more charming gossip encompassing the Metro-2 framework is the alleged presence of a city underneath the city of Raman. It clearly passes by the name of Raman 43. This mystery city was created to house the Soviet world class in the event of atomic war or a comparable disaster. 9 Various scientists and informants have made cases about the mysterious underground city. One previous KGB official even addressed Time magazine about it. He said that the underground organization could undoubtedly house around 15,000 individuals. Additionally, the city was on different levels and associated with other mystery areas around Moscow. Unexpectedly, the supposed underground city can likewise be gotten to by a relinquished park close to Moscow State University. These supposed mystery passageways are supposed to be spotted around Moscow. Gossipy tidbits and cases propose that mystery doorways to this underground organize exist. They dwell in the evidently incomplete structures around the city of Moscow. Shockingly, there are a few such areas. These empty parcels come in all shapes and structures, from incomplete emergency clinics to parking areas and all way of incomplete structures. Metropolitan legends around Moscow express that all or a portion of these relinquished structures offer doorways to this mystery underground network. 10 Interestingly, a significant number of these supposed mystery passages regularly pull in repulsive components of society, extending from drug groups to sinister cliques. These areas additionally pull in the destitute, who are simply searching for some place safe to rest. Regardless of whether any of these individuals have ever meandered into these mystery passages stays a secret. If you strolled around Moscow and into these off-the-beaten-path regions, you could be astounded what you hear.